Hello, this is Tony Heller from RealClimateScience.com. In this short video, I'm going to show you an example of how academics hide information in order to create a fake climate story. January 17th, 2024, scientists reveal how Greenland ice sheet has shrunk over the past 4 decades. The Greenland ice sheet lost more than 5,000 square kilometers of area between 1985 and 2022, according to a study in the journal Nature published on Wednesday. But what they're not saying is that almost all of that ice loss occurred more than 15 years ago. Greenland lost a lot of ice between the late 1990s and about 2005, but after that the melting greatly slowed down. This paper is from the American Geophysical Union, December 2008. So much for Greenland's Ice Armageddon. It has come to an end. The rapid ice loss in Greenland occurred over a relatively short period of time. Greenland's largest glacier, the Jacobshavn Glacier, retreated very rapidly from 1850 to about 1950, but then the melting nearly stopped until about the year 2001, when it retreated very rapidly again for a few years. But now Greenland's largest glacier is growing once again. There was a period of about 5 years at the beginning of this century when melting in Greenland was occurring very quickly, but after that it slowed way down. Let's take a closer look at this rapid melting during the second half of the 19th century. According to Michael Mann's hockey stick, those were the coldest years of the last millennium. So if we believe Michael Mann's hockey stick, glaciers in Greenland melt very rapidly during the coldest years, and they grow again once it gets much warmer. By not providing any meaningful detail, the authors of this paper were clearly intending to misinform the public. In order to understand Greenland, we have to go further back in time. From 1920 to 1930, Greenland warmed about 50% faster than it did between 1995 and 2005. In 1939, the leading Arctic authority of his time, Dr. Hans Ullmann, reported that glaciers in Greenland were melting so fast they faced the possibility of a catastrophic collapse, like the ones in Norway. And he documented the rapid retreat of glaciers in Norway during the first half of the 20th century. Greenland's climate is cyclical. This graph shows the average of all Greenland temperatures in the Global Historical Climatology Network database. Temperatures peaked around 1930 and stayed warm for another 10 or 15 years. Then they dropped off rapidly. Then they warmed up again until about 2010. And over the last 15 years, temperatures in Greenland have been declining again. It's been known for a long time that temperatures in the eastern Arctic closely track the Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation, which was very warm around 1940, very cold around 1970s, and has warmed up again quite a bit since then. The time period of the paper I'm discussing goes back about 40 years, which goes back to the bottom of the Atlantic multi-decadal oscillation. So of course there was ice loss during that period. If those academics wanted to inform the public, they would have also discussed the very warm time during the 1940s when the glaciers were rapidly melting. This is the reality of what's going on in Greenland. Over the last 7 years, there's been a large excess in the surface mass balance, which means a lot more ice has been accumulating than normal on the surface. The increase in mass on the surface of the Greenland ice sheet is consistent with the decline in temperatures in Greenland over the past 15 years. Whenever I show this graph, I invariably get attacked by climate alarmists. They want people to believe that the ice in Greenland is melting rather than expanding. And they invariably show this gravity anomaly graph from Greenland, which purports to show that the ice is melting. But you can't use gravity to measure changes in the thickness of ice sheets, and I'll explain that in another video. Toto's been pulling back the curtain for almost 16 years on the intentional deception by academics about climate. You can visit Toto and his family on the web at realclimatescience.com.